Spoiler alert. The villain of Breaking Bad is capitalism, and ultimately it's also a metaphor like Shakespeare was with Hamlet, for like the burning and the decay of society. Now this is usually perpetual, but what Breaking Bad was hypothesizing is that what if it's not perpetual? Because it's not. Chaos, order, entropy. That's why it uses chemistry and all these high concept things, because eventually, at a certain point, the decay is final. That yellow color that props up every time something evil is happening, the yellow color is the devil. And then when Walter shakes the devil's hand in that hotel room in the 5th season with Jack, fucking devil, fucking incarnate, Mephistopheles himself. But Walter's a bigger devil, at least a little bit. But not really, though, that's what we learned. Anywho, I'm getting ahead of myself, but my favorite object in the 2nd season, obviously, is that burnt fucking teddy bear. Now, again, I want to get into all the fucking minutiae of the color palette of Breaking Bad because it's immaculate. Think about the blues, think about the reds. Maria likes purple, that's obvious. But again, think about the color yellow, particularly yellow. That's the best one to notice because that pops up very vibrantly and it's always symbolic. It's like the Godfather, orange, the orange. But pink is rare. It's only in that bear, which, mind you, initially is this like. And this is why the 2nd season is fucking, again, almost too clever. It's great. It's amazing. It's when the show really starts to become, it's just transcendent. It's very experimental. But it's structured. It's one of the few seasons where they knew everything that they were going to do. Like, every beat was planned out, in advance. That's why every time the bear appears in the cold open, it's in episode titles, which is one of the known trivia. One of the episode titles, and they spell out what happens. So, shows up in the first one, which is 737 down over ABQ. 737 down over Albuquerque, the plane that crashes over Albuquerque at the end. It's, again, almost too clever. But that's every time we see the fucking little bear. The bear is very important because it's the same color pink of Holly. Remember when Holly is born in Phoenix? When Jane dies? Holly is wrapped up in that pink. She always has that pink, that innocence lost. Like this bear, which obviously we're supposed to infer this little fucking child was there, and the child is dead now because Walter White's action in an action. And again, Walter White is, except for capitalism, always the main villain of the story, except for 3 episodes, which we'll get into. Not yet. But that pink bear is so symbolic that when its eyeball pops off, and Walter keeps it. You never really see it. You never really, you have to infer. But remember, he's packing away the eyes of the bear. The eyeball popped out from the bear. That eye of God, again, the objects are the real fucking symbols, as we are going to probably get into more and more. But that pink bear, ooh, what an icon. And as we know, the eyeball pops up a lot throughout the show. Remember Don Eladio? Don Eladio está muerto. Remember the fucking eyeball necklace that Gus snatched from him? Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse all the time. But it's Ecclesburg. It's postmodern Ecclesburg. That's what they're doing. It's the eye of God, watching the Valley of Ashes, judging them. Or worse, not judging them. Just a passive voyeur to the carnage. And isn't that what the viewer is? Broke Bad, Part 2. Never give up. Alright, so, the 2nd season is really good. The 2nd season is. Again, it's just, could they build on it? Even if you look at, the reason why the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th season are objectively better is because they build on, there's things that pop up from the 1st season, the bread crust and the plate, but it's the 2nd season, the images and the iconography established in the 2nd season, which is Shakespeare to a goddamn fucking T. The 2nd season is set up fucking brilliantly. This is when Jesse becomes the hero. Oh my god, but doesn't Jesse become a junkie? Yes, that's why he's the hero. That's why at the very end, Walter goes into fucking, it's like Oedipus, Orpheus, fucking Ulysses. They descend into the darkness to rescue something, just like fucking, St. Anthony. But Jesse develops the Romeo and Juliet. That's what this season is. It's the second half. First half is actually really cool and fucking experimental. And again, they're establishing that Jesse is, though, Jesse goes through the fucker, like, always goes through the ringer. But in the second season, he falls into the porta potty, he gets kicked out of his childhood home, his fucking parent, this is before Jane. And remember Peekaboo? This is the middle episode, this is a very important episode. This is when we see Walter as the pure villain, when he's with Gretchen, and we realize, oh, this dude just fucking dicks, he was fucking this chick, and he's like, that's the whole fucking, that's his fucking Daisy. Spoiler alert. That's why Walter does all of this, because his penis. Elliot. Elliot and Gretchen become the villains because they are rich and the villain is capitalism. But at that point, they're good people, and Walter's the villain. Remember when he's in the flashback, when he's driving in the fancy car? And Skylar's always been arm candy, but that's not the point right now. Point is, in the episode, we see Jesse, and again, as someone that was born in a trap house around these people, that episode fucking chilled me to the bone. Remember those junkies that stole the ATM machine? That episode. Remember in the beginning how kind Jesse is. He befriends an insect. Same later on, spoilers, third season, when Walter wanted to kill the fly, and Jesse ultimately had to be the one to kill it. Or in the fifth season, that tarantula. The child captures, Todd, innocent Todd, the Bizarro son, Walter's Bizarro son, who supplants Jesse for a bit, kills. Sins of the father indeed. Am I right, man? Cain and Abel, am I right? Isn't this actually, we realizing the show is actually really even more heavy-handed than it seemed? Broad strokes, many of which can only be seen when you step out and, a little bit of retrospective in the metatext. The show's brilliant. Again, greatest narrative ever told. Yeah. So, the second season has very experimental episodes. That's where, we first introduce the Saul Goodman, who is I can't get into Saul right now. He's a great character. I haven't finished all of Better Call Saul, the show. I've only seen the first 3 seasons, but they're immaculate. Maybe I'll talk more about it. Maybe I'll do one of these on that when I finish that up, so I won't even talk about Saul. That sounds pretty good. But then remember, it's like Negro and Azul. There's a cold open. It's just like a narco corrido about Heisenberg. It's real fun. They have a lot of fun. Tortuga, elephant, the head. Remember, and then it's like you would argue that the closest of Jesse and Walter, are in 4 Days Out episode in their desert. Remember, it's this 9th episode, 4 Days Out, when they're out there, and making their last cook, in the RV, and they bond, they spare each other's souls, and they're out there, and that's when it becomes like fucking Beckett. That's when it's like Waiting for Godot. That's when it's echoed later in Fly, and in other episodes where it's just them, out there in the wilderness again. Western archetypes abound. Michelle MacLaren's the best director, though. I don't want to be sexist and talk about these dudes. Michelle MacLaren, the female director, is the best director, one of the best directors. But, like, in Breaking Bad, every episode she does is like the best episodes of the entire series. She's genius. So I'm sure she also had a lot. It's not just Vince Gilligan. It's certainly not Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul. Trust me, I listened to some interviews with them, and they're like savants about it. They don't understand the show. I understand the show better than they ever will. You understand the show better than they ever will. They just, sometimes they get it fully. Sure, Giancarlo Esposito gets it, but he won't fucking talk about it. That's why he fucking gets it. The second season, it's like even the Better Call Saul intro is this long take with Badger. It's like it's fun. It's really fun. Until over happens. Where both Walt and Jesse have choices to make with that money. And Walt does this weird thing, and again, the crawl space. Later I'll get to the crawl space. It's like, there's a mold. It's a grand metaphor for the fucking cancer inside of himself. And he could leave it all behind right then and there. Nah, remember? Hank, the bottle. Now. That's when Heisenberg becomes like Walter White. It's like weird. And there ain't no hat. Hat's off. Mask off. Forces his fucking physically handicapped son to overdrink and almost fucking vomit into that pool. Again, the pool was one of the most fucking symbolic holy shapes that the Sopranos made a pool symbolism. Holy fucking goddamn shit. Gone just like matches indeed. That's not the point right now. The point is that season then develops because at once Walter goes, stay out of my territory. And once Jesse allows Jane, ooh, what a trick that season plays. Where you're like, oh man, poor Jane, she's a good girl. And Jesse, no. Trust me, buddy. I'm just saying, man, nobody's perfect, man. And I'm not trying to blame the woman in the Garden of Eden, but Jane being a heroin addict is what? The rupture. And Mandala, again, an episode named Mandala. Think a little bit about what the series is saying, with that episode being Mandala and what happens in that episode when Walter chooses the meth deal over seeing the birth of his daughter, which is what it was all supposed to be about in the beginning, am I right? It's all about family? Oh wait, no it's not? Oh well. And when Jesse's just nodded out, remember? Enchanted, it's iconic. I think it rips off a movie, obviously, but it's fucking good. And then we know what happens in Phoenix. Because, well, I have a question. Who's the hero in Breaking Bad? Well, at least for the second season. It's Donald Margolis. Who's Donald? Donald Margolis. It's Jane's father, Donald Margolis. John LeChance. Q from the Star Trek. Donald Margolis of that season is the hero. And again, to flash forward, the fact that I don't think we never see a resolution amongst them. We never see, he tries to kill himself in prison, and he just becomes a distant, like the news clippings that Walter kind of keeps at the beginning of the third season. Spoiler alert. Or, it's the radio. But in that second season, he is the hero. He is, again, the Orpheus, the Oedipus, the Ulysses. He descends to try to rescue his daughter. He is a good man. He's the only objectively good man in that season. The only man who never does anything wrong. Except for when his daughter's dead, and he decides, I'm going to go to work and maybe try to forget about it. But that's the nature of trauma. That's the grieving process. Denial's the first step, and sometimes the river runs deep, my brothers and sisters, and in between. So, you know what I mean? I'm just spiking jive. I'm not trying to be fucking sexist with the talk. When they talk about hate me, you know what I mean? But yeah, Donald Margolis is the hero. He stands up to Jesse. He tries to do the right thing, And again, the most important thing, the transactional thing in Breaking Bad isn't the meth. Again, it's a grand metaphor. It's a Christian allegory. It's agape. It's love. It's kindness. And Donald is the one who gives Walt that kindness when they have that moment in the bar. Again, now realizing that his words are actually going to kill his own daughter. It's Shakespeare again. It's Romeo and Juliet. Never give up on family. Ooh, the kindness that they connect. Again, the human connection of Donald Margolis, the hero of that season, who becomes relegated to nothingness because of Walter White. And he gives these kind words. That's why Walter White is fucking so obsessed about that. About the fly. And then he brings that up. And then the whole, I let Jane die. Like it's karmic. It's cosmic. It's beautiful. It's, again, a bit too clever when you think about it. But Donald Margolis is the hero. He's pure. He stays true. But in staying true, he seals his fate. Because again, Albuquerque is rotted to the very core. He underestimated it. His biggest mistake was allowing his daughter an extra day, knowing that she was lying. Again, you know it, but you enable giving her that extra time. He should have just taken her to the rehab right then and there, and then there would have been no fucking Breaking Bad. But again, you go through those motions. Until next time.